Blackshaw. I'm an illustrator. I do some different things from fashion illustration to murals and 3D illustration workshops. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to be demonstrating how to make a 3D illustration from Pro marker pens and paper. So let's get started. The materials that I'm going to be using today are some mixed media paper. It's 250 grams, so it's nice and thick so that you can craft. We're going to use some different colour felt tip pens, and any collage materials that you might have will work really well for this as well. So let's get started. The first thing is just having a blank piece of paper to create some faces on. I have my face pre-drawn, but I'm just going to give you a quick tip on how to generate some faces. Sometimes that's the most difficult part for people. So this is a really quick and fun way. Sometimes I do realistic faces, as in my fashion illustrations. I've previously used collage faces, which is something that you could also use. But there's also some interesting faces you can generate by doing this really quick technique. So starting by drawing a series of random shapes that resemble a kind of face shape. Once you've got your face shape, it's a little bit like a production line, adding eyebrows and not being too careful, because this is how you can really create some unusual characters. Then going through and drawing a series of noses in different ways, eyes. Again, I'm doing this quite fast because I've found the quicker I draw, the more character you can sort of capture. And that's just a really quick way of creating some different character faces, and then applying colour, and then they'll really come to life. Like I said, today I've gone for a more sort of realistic face, copying one from a collage, and now I'm going to finish colouring that in, and then we can start with creating some patterns. So once you've got your face shape, I use a pencil to create just a grey skin tone, and then applying colour. The image I'm going to be working from today is this fashion illustration. I'll hold up a slightly bigger version. This is the original one, and it is of Pam Hogg's 2014 Autumn-Winter collection. As it was a dedication to Pussy Riot, the feminist group. So there's loads of colour to work with today, and I thought that would be great as inspiration. So when you're working from home, you might have a particular collection that you want to work from. If you're just following the workshop as I'm doing it today, you can use the image that I have here. So I draw in a way that's very free, just colouring in. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the lines. And then adding some makeup. And again, I'm just going to be copying the colours as close as I can to the original one on here. And then time to cut it out. So you will need some scissors and some tape in today's workshop. I've just got some double-sided tape and some masking tape, but you could also use other things like electrical tape that I've just found in my parents' house, so I'm sure they'll be looking for that. You can also just get some cheap glitter tape. Sometimes they sell these in supermarkets and things like that. So there's no limit on or restrictions on what you can use. Okay, you've got your face shape sorted. The next part is about creating mark making so that you can apply different patterns and colours to your body. This can be very quick and gestural. It could even be using other parts of scrap materials that have already got patterns on. Once you've done that, it's about taking your paper and folding it into a cylindrical shape, such as this. You can use other materials for the body. Here is a plastic bottle that I've decorated, and again here. But today I'm going to be using a paper. Once you've got your body, it's then about trying to colour match to your original image and attaching those. So I've already got the bottom shape. I'm now going to do the top. And I'm going to use some masking tape to do that. The good thing about masking tape, you can colour over the top of it so it blends in. And folding it tightly so that it stays in position. So you can use a Pritt stick for this as well, but I find that tape, because the card is quite thick, the tape holds it better. And we can collage over the top of this anyway. So you've got your shape. Using collage materials, these are just scraps of papers that I've collected over time. You can then start to craft those around. Again, either using masking tape, coloured tapes, or double-sided. So it's building those up, adding the face, and then we can start to add some arms and some feet. If you don't have any double-sided tape, you can fold the masking tape on itself. If you don't have access to scissors, you can just rip and fold to the correct shapes. I'm going to make that a bit higher. The good thing about the masking tape is you can peel it off and remove things. Now everyone's will look slightly different depending on what materials you've got. Okay, going back to the paper I had before, I always try and keep any cuts that I have so that I can reuse those as well. So I'm going to draw 2 pairs of arms that I can collage onto as well. They can be different lengths. And taping those to the back. Now the back isn't the most attractive at the moment, but you can just keep collaging over the top to make the back just as beautiful as the front. Again, using the offcuts of paper, I'm going to start drawing the shoes. So I'm going to have one foot that's facing and one that's going to come off the body. Using fine liners, you can add details to sort of draw in the legs so it's clear where they start and finish. So as you can see, starting to build a body up, but what really makes these characters come to life is the level of detail that you have to put in and keep collaging over the top. So here are some previous examples. You can see I've even add scrap bits of textiles. You could do that as well, and just really layering up so they become more interesting and detailed and delicate. Here's another example of just adding finer marks, even little things like the glittered tape for fringing. Adding things like accessories really helps to bring the characters to life. And in the longer workshop, the live workshop that I'm going to be doing, this is when you can get a bit more information about how to add those details. The reason I went from 2D illustration into exploring 3D is my research was looking into how fashion illustration could intervene with how much we consume fashion. And through that, I wanted to use materials that we might think of scrap, secondhand materials, and try and create something just as beautiful as freshly made fashion, if you like. So it's exploring all these scrap materials, maybe bringing in some new elements like pens and a fresh piece of paper, but really trying to craft them in a way that isn't perfect. So these are some of the finished outcomes that you could be creating, and everyone's will look completely different, and I hope that you can share them with me. I'd love to see what you've come up with. So this has been my workshop for hospital rooms, and thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see what you've created.